Welcome to topic 1.5 of module 1. In this subtopic, we will learn about the nerve and muscle tissues of the body. During the course of this video, try and answer as many questions as you can from module 1, topic 1.5. The learning objectives for this video are to describe the structure and the function of nervous tissue, describe the structure of a neuron, know functional differences between different parts of the neuron, and finally, to describe the structure and function of the three different muscle types and distinguish the unique characteristics of each. Nervous tissue is the main functional component of the nervous system, which consists of the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. This system regulates and controls all of our body's functions. Nervous tissue is made up of two different kinds of cells. Neurons are highly specialized cells that generate and conduct nerve impulses in response to stimulus. Glial cells, which make up most of the nervous tissue, are the supporting cells that protect, insulate, and support the neurons. Nerve cells can be exceptionally long and reach the various parts of our body with the help of loose connective tissue. Neurons themselves have an exceptionally high metabolic rate and require a continuous supply of oxygen and glucose. Without the supply of oxygen, neurons cannot survive more than a few minutes. Once mature, most nerve cells lose their ability to divide. They have extreme longevity, and with good nutrition, they can function at an optimum level throughout our lifetime. As mentioned earlier, nervous tissue is made up of neurons and supporting cells called glial cells. Neurons are branching cells with cytoplasmic extensions, known as axons, which extend from the nucleus-containing cell body. The primary function of nervous tissue is to respond to stimuli and transmit electrical impulses from sensory receptors to effectors, such as muscles and glands. Nervous tissue is located in the brain and spinal cord collectively to make up the central nervous system, while the nerves that travel from the CNS, or the central nervous system, to the rest of our body makes up the peripheral nervous system, or the PNS. Neurons, or nerve cells, are the structural units of the nervous system. A neuron typically consists of dendrites, the cell body, and an axon. Each of these unique structures are related to its function within the nervous system. Dendrites are the main input regions that provide an enormous surface area for receiving signals or electrical impulses from other neurons. The cell body of a neuron is the biosynthetic center of a neuron. Therefore, it contains the usual organelles needed to synthesize proteins and other complex molecules. An axon is the signal transmission region of a neuron. It generates nerve impulses and transmits them away from the cell body. Each neuron has a single axon, which arises from a cone-shaped area of the cell body called the axon hillock. The length of an axon itself varies depending on the function of the nerve. For example, the axon of a motor neuron controlling the skeletal muscles can extend up to 1 meter long from the spine to the foot. These are some of the longest cell structures in our body. In motor neurons, the nerve impulse is generated at the junction of the axon hillock and the axon. These signals are conducted along the axon to the axon terminals. When the impulse reaches the axon terminal, it causes the release of signaling chemicals called neurotransmitters into the extracellular space. Each neuron that receives a signal can send it to other neurons through dendrite connections, carrying the conversations to different organs such as muscles or glands. Many nerve fibers that are particularly long and large in diameter are covered with a whitish fatty membrane that is made up of lipids. This is called the myelin sheath. Its role is to protect and electrically insulate the axon. Furthermore, because lipids are bad conductors of electricity, the presence of a myelin sheath increases the transmission speed of a nerve impulse, as the signal jumps at places where the myelin sheath is absent. In neurons of the peripheral nervous system, the myelin sheaths are formed by Schwann cells that wrap around the axon. Neurons associate closely with much smaller cells called the glial cells that support and insulate the neurons. There are a variety of glial cells in our nervous tissue. Astrocytes are the most abundant and versatile of these glial cells. These cells cling to neurons and nearby capillaries. Not only do astrocytes support and anchor the neurons, they separate neurons and act as nutrient supply lines. Microglial cells can become macrophage-like cells that phagocytose microorganisms and dead neuronal tissue. The ependymal cells line the central cavities of the brain and spinal cord, where cerebrospinal fluid is secreted. The beating cilia present on these cells help circulate the cerebrospinal fluid. Finally, oligodendrocytes have a similar function to that of Schwann cells by producing the myelin sheath in the central nervous system. So let's talk about skeletal muscle now. Skeletal muscle is responsible for the ability to move and maintain posture. Skeletal muscle cells, which make the skeletal tissue, are excitable and respond to stimulus by contracting. These muscle cells also have the ability to transmit electrical signals along their surface, similar to nerves. Also known as striated or voluntary muscle, skeletal muscle tissue has several important functions, such as providing protection to organs like the kidneys and the shoulders. Skeletal muscle is also involved in producing heat when needed. In special cases where an individual is experiencing hypothermia or reduced body temperature, the muscle fibers shiver to produce heat. Motor nerve signals are absolutely essential for the skeletal muscles to contract. In the chronic absence of these signals, due to reasons such as nerve damage, the skeletal muscles will shrink due to lack of physical activity, a condition known as muscular atrophy. The following figure shows that tendons attach muscles to bones. Let's look at the structure and arrangement of muscle cells in detail. The skeletal muscle cells, also known as the muscle fibers, are long and cylindrical cells that are multinucleated, meaning they contain more than one nucleus. Skeletal muscle tissue is packed by connective tissue sheets into organs called the skeletal muscles that are highly vascularized. Individual skeletal muscle cells are long, cylindrical, multinucleated cells with obvious bands or striated appearance as seen in this photomicrograph. These muscles account for voluntary movement, locomotion, and facial expression, and there are approximately 640 different anatomically identified skeletal muscles in the body. Moving on to smooth muscle now. Smooth muscle, also known as involuntary muscle, has a high capacity to stretch. It is generally found lining the walls of tubes, such as blood vessels and hollow organs like the bladder. In arteries, they control the rate of flow, while in our gastrointestinal tract, they help in moving food. Smooth muscle also helps in secreting or excreting substances that are stored in the bladder. They also have the ability to divide when necessary. Smooth muscle cells, as opposed to skeletal muscle cells, have a single nucleus with no striations and are linked by gap junctions, which allow electrical signals or impulses to pass through them. Many smooth muscles are autorhythmic, meaning they do not require neural input, meaning from the brain, to contract rhythmically. This photomicrograph shows smooth muscle cells that are spindle-shaped and contain one centrally located nucleus. Smooth muscle is mainly found in the walls of hollow organs. Here it helps squeeze substances along the internal passageways of these organs by alternatively contracting and relaxing. Finally, cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle, also known as myocardium, is only found in the walls of the heart. Cardiac muscle cells, unlike the skeletal muscle cells, are unicellular and uninucleated, but they are striated. These cells are linked by intercalated discs. Gap junctions within these intercalated discs allow electrical signals to pass through a large group of individual cells and enables them to act as one functional unit. Cardiac muscle cells are involuntary, and up to 1% of these cardiac myocytes have the ability to initiate their own electrical currents, and these cells act as pacemaker cells. These cardiac muscle cells do not have the ability to divide either. From the micrograph of cardiac muscle, you can see the striations and banding of cells, as well as the intercalated discs. Cardiac muscle is only found in the walls of the heart, and as it contracts, it propels blood into the circulatory system. So in summary, from this video, we have learnt about the structure of a neuron, as well as the different kinds of cells found in the nervous tissue. And we have also learnt about the structure and function and location of the three main muscle types found in our body.